It's his religious duty to expose pump and dumps. And he gets angry at me when I buy these pump and dumps. He's like, you know you're helping the scammers, right? Well, I mean, that's just an email, so I don't know what his voice is like, but I can imagine that's like what he's saying to me. Because he's going to be pissed. We're going to make a DVD out of this presentation. Like he sends me emails when I bought, what did I buy? Oh, the ticker was ZANE, and it was this terrible company, and I bought it because it was breaking out. You know, I buy and I short. And he sends me an email like within 2 minutes of my buy, and he's like, you're gonna burn in hell for this. I think it's hilarious. I was like, well, Peter, I'll see you there, you know? I don't think you're gonna burn in hell for buying a stock or shorting a stock. Maybe if I was doing the promoting, if I was the guy behind the manipulation, then I might burn in hell. But I might have mentioned this a few times, that I'm Jewish, and I guess I'm not a very good Jew, but Jews don't believe in hell, so I guess I'm Jewish there, you know. I will buy pump and dumps, I will short pump and dumps. All I'm interested in is profiting. I'm not trying to get into the ethics of buying scams, you know. I write blog posts, I say like why I bought this probable scam, and people are very confused. I wrote a whole long blog post on this penny stock that Justin Bieber just partnered on, and I basically trashed the company. I said this company is like near bankruptcy, or they were at least before Bieber. Do you know Justin Bieber? Yeah. We know Justin Bieber. Okay, we talked about that yesterday, didn't we? Do you want to sing it? Do you want to sing some Justin Bieber? I don't know the song. Raise your hand if you want Anatoly to sing some Justin Bieber.
I don't know really the song.
Baby, oh. But I wrote this whole long post about Justin Bieber, and apparently just yesterday I was checking my email when I was trashed last night, and Justin Bieber has sent me a cease and desist letter. So Justin has reached out to me, and I know millions of teenage girls are jealous, even though it's Justin's lawyers. I'm not concerned because all I'm doing is highlighting information in these companies' SEC filings. The company is, or was before Bieber, near bankruptcy, which I said. They've had no money, their balance sheet is terrible. And that's all I said in a very long blog post, and I researched it, you know, meticulously. But at the end of the blog post I said, even though this company is a joke, it's terrible, this thing was trading at 4 cents a share. I'm not going to short a stock trading at 4 cents a share. I said, it's a potential buy. And that just confuses people. Like, why would you buy scams? Peter Michelson doesn't get it. I don't care. Peter Michelson is great because they post their mailers. And I'm going to show you some promotional mailers that they posted. It's very nice. You know, these guys take this very seriously. Who's the other guy? No, I guess just, T. Lento. This guy is Tim Lento, he's one of my interns, and he's not big into the ethics of it all, too, but he posts every promotional mailer that he gets. And they kind of, this is a great message board to categorize everything. So if you check this message board, you can set it up so that you get alerts. So if you don't want to subscribe to the actual promotions clogging up your email inbox, I would suggest you subscribe to this message board, and it's free. You know, so it costs you nothing, but this message board in particular only highlights the best pump and dumps, so it's very good. And Peter Michelson will give you some lessons on being like good Catholics. And you can see here that, you know, these guys are really good in the sense that they only care about the disclaimers. You know, these promotional mailers say we found $1 billion worth of gold or oil or whatever, but these guys, and hopefully at the end of this presentation you guys, will understand that that's all meaningless. What matters is the compensation. And so you can see here, you know, just received that ONCS one yesterday, 880,000. So I don't even have to look at that mailer because that guy was very nice to post the compensation. And so almost everybody posts the compensation. See, this guy says, look, got the same ESYL mailer. And this was on 5/18. So this was a few days ago. And remember, ESYL is this. This is ESYL. And look at this. This is the 18th. So you can link directly that message board and him getting the promotional mailer to the stair-step pattern. Okay? This is not random. The reason why this stock jumped here is because this is when people were getting, or no, he said he got the mailer yesterday. He posted on the 18th, so he got the mailer on the 17th. That's the reason for this whole run up here on the 17th and 18th. Look at this. I received the same one on here on the same day. ESYL, 400,000. And he posted, you know, this is a screencast.com, so it's a picture. So they posted a picture of the mailer. So with this simple thing, you can see it's not random. When people get mailers, the stock goes up. Simplest thing in the world. You have to be careful though, because these are the best promoters. If you follow second or third tier promoters, there's not a direct correlation between the stock going up and the mailers. For these, it's awesome. You see, this one, LEXG, $3.3 million mailer, Elliot Dobbs. That's the big one. So ESYL went from 1 to 2 on $400,000 mailer. LEXG went from 1 to 10 on that $3.3 million. Elliot Dobbs, and I can just see it. Look, it was posted by Peter Michelson. So I can just see Peter Michelson like saying out loud, Elliot Dobbs, you're gonna burn in hell. Maybe that's how he talks, I don't know. That's scary. See, look at this. Got a new mailer on LBTG from Mr. Scumbag himself. Like, these guys get offended by these promoters. They want to shut these promoters down. The reason why I come to Russia, the home of a lot of this spam, is because I don't want promoters to hate me. If any of you guys are promoters, understand I buy stocks and I need them, okay? I don't want to expose these pump and dumps so that they all should get shut down. That would lower my profit opportunity. That would lower your profit opportunity. I think that the key is not stopping them, because manipulation, I swear to God, will never end in the stock market. But education will save people. Here's another website that I use, thelion.com. And it is run by this crazy guy. This is his screen name, Lion Master. If you ever try and talk to him on the phone, he speaks less English than most of you. So don't try and talk to him on the phone unless you have like a little electronic earpiece to translate Chinese. You know, I mean, he runs this site. He has run it for over a decade. And you can see here, again, it's very nice. You have all the message board posters. Everyone's sharing information. Don't trust anybody on a message board, except for that one, you know, holier than thou, religious pump and dump message board where everyone is so honest because they want to expose pump and dumps. This message board is used to manipulate these kinds of stocks. If you're a trader, like Lion Master, and I pointed this out multiple times, Lion Master posts, you know, about a stock, and he's like, I bought, you know, this is his latest stock, HRBN. And he does like 7 posts within a few minutes, kind of like a stock promoter, except he doesn't get paid by shareholders or insiders to pump and dump. He's doing the pump and dump himself. When he posts, he says, I bought 3,000 shares because of this. And, you know, he comes up with a reason. But he always, like, puts a ridiculous price target. You know, and obviously I do the same thing. When I alert a stock, I say, this is why I bought this stock. This is why I shorted this stock. But I try and make accurate predictions. I say, you know, I bought TBBC because it's the pump and dump. And my goal is to sell it in the high ones. Not saying, oh, TBBC is going to go from 1 to 10. Lion Master, on the other hand, if he buys a stock at 3, he's like, this stock is going to go to 6 in a few hours. And if it goes up like 20 cents, he's like, just playing it safe. I'm going to sell a third of my position. And then you never hear about the stock again. And I made this joke. I was like, Lion Master, I wrote this whole post on it. I was like, Lion Master, every time you buy a stock, you only sell like a third or a quarter of your position, and then we never hear of it again. And he's like, and I'm like, are you just tucking away all of these stocks? My guess is what he's doing is when he says he's sold a third of it, he's selling all of it and actually going short because he knows he's the one pumping it up. And it's kind of a beautiful thing where, you have traders like this, and thelion.com is not very, none of these websites are very well known. Look, only 163 people like it on Facebook. That's sad. He's been doing this for a decade and he's only got like 160 people, maybe like 500 people. Some traders aren't on Facebook. Are you guys all on Facebook? Raise your hand if you're on Facebook. Okay. Or wait, what's the Russian one? Contact? Tequila? Tequila.com? You predicted my joke. I like that. I was going to say that. I'm going to have to Google this. How do you spell it? T-A-Q-U-I-L? Tequila? Tequila. It's funnier when I say it like that. This is going to be interesting when I look this up. What is this, like a town known for like prostitution or something? I don't know. I feel like I'm being set up, but I like it. So follow thelion.com, follow Twitter. People are like falling over laughing with this. What the heck is tequila? Tequila. It's funnier when I say it in a deep voice. Tequila. It's not that funny when I say it in a high voice. Tequila. But it's funny in that low voice. Interesting. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna use Yandex. I'm gonna find out. So, what do promotional mailers look like? Who here has gotten a spam email, like with one of these stocks? Raise your hand. Nobody. One guy. Yandex does a good job of blocking the spam. Well, I suggest that you sign up for this. I mean, hopefully by the end of this presentation, you'll see, A, I'm not a great trader, B, I used to be thin, and C, you can make money on these just by following spam. That should be my presentation, not how to make millions on low-priced stocks. It should be how to use spam and actually profit without doing anything illegal. This is, which one was this? I don't even remember which ticker. Oh, this was ADVC. So this was the, failed pump and dump, where everyone thought this stock was going to be like the next LEXG, and a lot of people loaded up. And this is, it's just like owning Apple and Google combined for $1 a share. I mean, I could do a whole presentation, not even teaching about anything. It would be a comedy show, and it would just focus on promotional mailers like this. Look at this. The mobile application industry is exploding, set to triple to 17.1 billion. Look at this, and they're going to capture 25% of this business. So, what is that? That's a half, so it's like $4.5 billion. So they're saying this is going to be a $4.5 billion company. And by the way, this guy Eric Dixon, HHWW, FCPG, KNKT, ALZM. I made money on all of them. All of those were some of the greatest pump and dumps, which I showed you yesterday and today. I don't think he picked LEXG. I don't know. FCPG, there's a guy named Tobin Smith on Fox News in America. It's like the American version of RBC. But he's ridiculously tan, he's old. He has like hair plugs. I like to rip on him on Twitter. I'm like, how much do those hair plugs cost, Tobin? And he doesn't respond, because he's just a promoter. But his pick, FCPG, for which he got $250,000. And you can take away at the end of this, like, maybe you don't want to trade, maybe you don't want to wake up and try and find shares to short it. You'll just become promoters, and that would be great, because we need more good promoters. And I can't train you, I can't have any contact with you. But if you want to, make money in a sketchy fashion, there's a lot more money to be made being a stock promoter. And this one, went from 1 to 5, and so he highlights it. You can see here that they like to highlight with those old school fluorescent highlighters. My latest pick could rocket over 2,000%, and he has arrows. So this is all, specifically designed to get you excited about a stock. And those stupid Midwestern housewives believe this shit. They really do. And you can see here, like, this is an actual mailer. US postage paid. Like, this was actually mailed out like a postcard to millions upon millions of people. Somehow I don't get any mailers. I signed up for all these newsletters, I input my address, but I think that they screen out my name or something because I don't get any mailers, which is sad, or else I would have physical copies to bring you. Here's another part of the mailer. Fact, in 2010 alone, the mobile application industry exploded to 6 billion. You see it's underlined. You have the check mark. You have more highlights. $10,000 rockets to 207,800. All by August 1st, 2011. So you pick random numbers where, you know, lots of people have $10,000 in their account. So you say, oh, it could go to 207,000. Why 207,000? Because it's just a random number that excites people. If you say 10,000 to 200,000, it's nice, but it's not, it doesn't seem real. By picking like a random number like this, you know, it's like if you buy something, I don't know if you have this in Russia. In America, like, instead of pricing a product at $100, you price it at like $99.95. Do you have that in Russia? All right. What is it, like 2 million rubles instead? Or like 1.9999 million rubles? So you use this basic, you know, psychology. 1,978% profits. Not 2,000%, because that would seem like a scam. No, 1978 seems real. And look, they have this nice reminder. Act now on ABVC. Act now. Don't be too late. You need to get in on this now. In ABVC, you know, the mailers all look like this. I mean, you can input any single ticker into this mailer. You can say, you know, the mobile application industry exploded. You can say the gold industry exploded. The oil industry exploded. It doesn't matter what the industry is, but the promoters are crafting a story. They're trying to get you excited about this breakthrough opportunity. Look at this, at these prices, $300 a share, $600, $1,000. Remember, this is only $1 stock. And after this mailer got sent, the stock dropped from $1.30 down to roughly 70 cents. So it dropped 50%. And just wait till you see this company's financials. I know you're excited. It's going to make financials exciting for the first time in years. Let's see, one other thing. If you're like me and every other Wall Street shark, you'd be crazy not to jump at a chance to make this money off the backs of Fortune 500 performers. So they're comparing it, Fortune 500 is, you know, the 500 largest companies. Fortune magazine comes out with it every year. So they're trying to give credibility. And look, they're saying investors all over the world already pay through the nose to profit from just one of those companies. So imagine what they pay to secure those profits from all three companies in one shot. Because remember, you're not just investing in Apple, Research in Motion, or Google. You're investing in all three. So they're trying to say, you know, this is like a Fortune 500 company, investors all over the world, so now it's international. And when we go to the financials, this company has no cash, no revenues. It's a joke. This is a complete lie. And if the US government was competent, this would be illegal. But it's not. Thankfully, the US government is incompetent, as evidenced by our debt. But this is what matters. That whole little speech about the mobile application industry and Google and Research in Motion. Research in Motion, for those of you who don't know, makes BlackBerry, which, don't even get me started, they messed that product up. But it's very nice. I took this mailer off that message board with the religious people who like to expose stuff. So they highlighted the one thing that you need to read in this whole disclaimer. And this is, do you guys have disclaimers in Russia? Like small little, okay. So you see how tiny this is, and this is enhanced like 500%. The camera guy has to like zoom in to like see this. It's so tiny. And you can see how all the words are very close to each other. So old people, specifically senior citizens, can't read this. They have cataracts. You know cataracts? Cataracts is worldwide. So, I mean, no old person is going to read this. They're not going to see all this. But CFM has received and managed a total production budget of $800,000 for this print advertising effort. That's what matters. $800,000 is what the ABBC pump and dump should have been. And everybody was excited because it was like, there's an $800,000 budget, the stock is going to go up. And ironically, despite the exact, this is the same process that all pump and dumps use. For whatever reason, ABBC did not go up. So this was their failure. But I wanted to show you, one other thing. In all of this, it said readers should perform their own due diligence. This one, breakaway stocks and Capital Financial Media. And notice the company name, Capital Financial Media. You use 3 words that mean nothing. These are just like terms, like I'm US stocks equity. Like you use these words that are so not memorable. Equity trading capital. You can just say these words so like you don't come up with like something interesting, like a unique word like tequila. TequilaTraders.com, right? That would be better than this. And they say they've used outside research and writers using publicly available information to create the advertisement. So they say this is an advertisement, but it looks like a research report. Somebody paid for this ad. So, obviously the world is full of advertising, but should you invest based on an advertisement? No. There was a company called Merrill Lynch once upon a time, and their whole slogan was be bullish. They're now dead. They shouldn't have been so bullish. They should have controlled their risk and leverage, but they didn't. There are mutual fund companies that, Oppenheimer funds. They say, invest like us, I think, is their slogan. Or the right way to invest. I think that's Oppenheimer, I'm not sure. And if you look at Oppenheimer's performance, I just bring them up because their mutual funds dropped 60%. Is that really the right way to invest? Should I lose 60% on a safe mutual fund? Don't believe advertisements. I also wanted to show one other thing. I can't even read this. Holy crap. My head was hurting because of the vodka. Now it's hurting even more. I feel like I have cataracts. There's something in here where it says that it's a conflict of interest. And they say, don't listen to us. That's the beautiful thing about these promoters. In their disclaimer, they say this is a clear conflict of interest. Where the heck is it? Ouch. This is killing me. Somewhere in here they say, there's a conflict of interest and do not listen to us. And most promoters, just by stating this, it's like, okay, they're contradicting themselves, but legally they're protected. Because they're like, oh, we warned you, there's a conflict of interest. When the SEC gets involved, there was a stock promoter called pennystockchaser.com. And him and I got into many fights. He has a much bigger, they had a much bigger budget than I ever will. And they advertise on the Howard Stern show. Do you guys know Howard Stern? Howard Stern, did it make it over? He's like this raunchy, anybody know Howard Stern? Raise your hand. Wow, this guy knows Howard Stern. You kind of look like Howard Stern. You guys don't get that. But I suggest you Google it or Yandex it, just like I'm gonna Yandex tequila. The joke is dead. That was quick. I'm tracking, I make this joke because I'm like crazy and I like to make charts of how jokes work so I can use them in the future. Next time I come back to Russia to speak. Maybe I guess it'll only work with you guys, right? Or will it work?
Nobody cares. Except us.
Only you guys. United Traders was created in Tequila. Oh, it's back when I use it like different ways. Interesting. Anyways, Penny Stock Chaser advertised on Howard Stern. Howard Stern is one of the top media personalities in America. And, you know, like he makes millions of dollars for Sirius satellite radio, but to advertise on the show costs, I don't know, $500,000 or something. And this stupid little penny stock promoter advertised on Howard Stern. Pretty amazing. Anyways, penny stock chaser got shut down by the SEC, despite their disclaimers, which look like this, saying, you know, it's a conflict of interest. We may or may not hold positions. We may or may not sell our positions into, you know, while we're advertising this company. And that's fine. You know, you can say that. But what the SEC discovered was that when pennystockchaser.com, they never used hard copy mailers like this. They would only send emails. So they would send millions of emails all at once. And not what their disclaimer said. I mean, the disclaimer said we may sell our positions. The SEC found that within 2 minutes of every single email being sent out, they would sell their positions. So they would send out millions of emails recommending the stocks to buy. And within 2 minutes, they would sell their entire positions, every single time. It wasn't like, oh, we might sell. Like, they specifically sold, right as they clicked the send email, I think they had another screen open that's click sell. That's specific stock market manipulation, when you're telling people to buy and you're selling. If I'm buying TBBC and I'm telling people to short it, I would be manipulating. Because you're creating your own market, you know? Penny Stock Chaser had, let's say, 10 million shares of whatever pump and dump they're getting promoted to pick. So then they send out these mailers to tell other people, Midwestern housewives, to buy it. And then they would sell directly into that. So they would get rid of their shares and they would make a lot of money. You know, the rumors are is that they made 50 million. The SEC froze their bank accounts, and I think they got fined 3.7 million. But the couple, and before they deleted their accounts when the news first broke, I posted their pictures from Facebook. And it's like a little Canadian husband and wife team. And the wife is so hideous. And I just ripped on her over and over again. And I don't mean to be superficial or mean, but when it's a penny stock promoter, like, who cares? And, you know, I was comparing, you know, the couple. I was like, did the husband, you know, pump the wife before he dumped her? And all sorts of mean-spirited posts. And then they deleted their Facebook profile, so I couldn't use any more of their pictures. But it was just like this random Canadian couple that owns pennystockchaser.com. And they didn't even reply to the SEC's case against them. They just, you know, took the 3.7 million penalty. Their bank accounts were frozen, but it's rumored that they have over 50 million because the SEC focused on only one of their newsletters, and they own like 7 different newsletters. And the SEC's case against them for the 3.76 million was roughly 6 months, or no, maybe a year of picks. But they've been picking and promoting for nearly a decade. So I'm guessing they have a ton of money stowed away. They didn't even show up to trial. They didn't even respond. They just took it in stride. They're like, okay, 3.76 million gone. You know, so what? Opportunity cost. Cost of doing business. So that's what these promoters do. And, you know, this is why they say see important disclaimer on page 9. So they're protected legally. This protects them legally, except if you sell directly into this. I see some food in the back, so I think we're going to take a break, just because I need one of those sandwiches right now. I can't look at them anymore. So we'll be back in a little bit. Thank you. Break time? All right, good. We found a promoter. He confessed during the break. While everybody else was eating cheese sandwiches, he was eating caviar because he's a promoter. Anatoly Radchenko, everybody. He's gonna create a website called AnatolyStocks.com or .ru, lowrisk.ru. Lowrisk.ru is sponsoring my seminar. Anyways, I watched a video of tequila, so now I understand why it's funny when I say tequila. Let's drink vodka. Where do I begin again?
We don't get translator yet.
Oh, we don't have a translator yet? Ah.
Yes, you should wait a couple of minutes.
Alright, let me tell you what I really think now that you don't understand what the fuck I'm saying! Why are you laughing? You understand what I'm saying? What the fuck? People speak English? Some people say I should go into stand-up comedy. I don't know. I would have like the penny stock comedy tour. It would be tough. Like there's humor in penny stocks. There's so much humor. Like as you can see from these ridiculous promotional mailings. Like I don't even have to say anything. Just, you know, I'll sit down. Watch. Here. Just look at this promotional mailer. Just look at the screen. You gonna translate that? Oh, he doesn't like it. I got a dirty look from the translator. Oh, no! Oh! That! This is comedy. You have to understand this, okay? This is a fucking joke that this is legal. But it is. Right now. You know, I don't know how much longer it's gonna stay legal, but this is my comedy. Otherwise, if this is over, I have to like tell one-liners. Let me try a one-line joke. Let's see if this translates. Maybe you've heard this, maybe you haven't. Why don't blind people go bungee jumping? You know bungee jumping?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't blind people go bungee jumping?
Why?
It's hard on the dogs. You see? It's not that funny. This is funnier. Fact! In 2010 alone. This is the best material I've got. And it's everywhere on the internet. A few people were asking me, where do you find these stocks? I suggest you look at my Twitter list ASAP. Get on Twitter. I have a list of, I think, 57 or maybe 60 promoters. And they just, you know, you can see all the stocks that they promote. On Twitter, and you can obviously click on each Twitter profile and go to that penny stocks website. Another thing that you can do to find these newsletters is just Google, just use Yandex and type in the term penny stock. The entire first, second, third page of the term penny stock are promoters. If you look for my website, I'm on like number 6, page 6 or page 7, because I don't spend a lot of money trying to get on Google. I have the truth on my side, I don't need to market. There's also a limited number of shares to short, whereas the promoters, their whole job is to get the biggest list possible. So, to get on the first page of Google or Yandex for penny stocks costs you about $100,000 a month. Why are you saying no?
Because you can actually create a website on Google Sykes, and that will send you to the top list free of charge.
What is this? Hold on.
Google has a service which is called Google Sites. You can create an independent website and then create the replica of that site on Google Sites. You automatically get the first page.
So you're saying
Free of charge.
create a website via Google Sites
I can do it right away. My website is top great.
for what term?
0, whatever.
But what term are you trying to get to number 1?
8 minutes to do translation.
I will take you up on this, okay? I'll bet you $50,000 you cannot get on page 1 of Google for the term penny stocks. If you're right, I win. You know, I lose $50,000, but I get on the front page of Google, so I win. So I win either way. That's called a good bet. You have to translate that. No one else knows what the hell we're talking about. But translator, you know, assumptions aside, to get on the front page of Google is very tough. It's very competitive. Not just Google, but anywhere. Like, to find promoters. I mean, if you click on a sponsored ad, you know, Google makes most of their money off sponsors. You know, Google search, Google AdSense. For the term penny stock, they want your click so bad. I've seen firms that are willing to pay $18 per click. $18 for you to just click that penny stock. So sometimes when I'm bored, which is rarely, but sometimes I just like clicking on sponsored results thinking that this stupid promoter is paying $18 for that. I suggest you do it too. Fuck them. Or if you guys want to become promoters, that's even better. Anyways, so this is the disclaimer. And I should mention that these are, mostly OTC bulletin board stocks and pink sheet stocks. But, and a few people were asking me, thank you for asking me questions during the break. It gives me more content to my comedy tour. NASDAQ pumps are even better. And, NASDAQ stocks require $5 million in assets to stay listed on the NASDAQ. If a company falls below 5 million, I think it's 5 million, it might be something else, but I think it's 5 million, in order to stay listed on the NASDAQ. So there's at least this threshold, as you'll see soon in the upcoming slides. I mean, most OTC bulletin board stocks have no assets. So when a NASDAQ stock is pumped, it won't be via promotional mailers like this. The NASDAQ doesn't tolerate that shit. But people like Lion Master, HRBN, this is NASDAQ. And unlike OTC bulletin boards, NASDAQ stocks, when they're pumped up by promoters or people like Lion Master, they go usually from like $2 to maybe $4 or $5, or even $10. I have quite a few examples, and there's endless amounts of shares to short. So it's very good. And if you guys, I wrote a book. If you go to timothysykes.com/book, you can read my book. And I made, I don't know, I'd say at least 600,000 or maybe 700,000 of my 2.5 million in career trading profits on NASDAQ stocks. They're far easier. They're much more volatile. But right now there's just no NASDAQ pumps going on. Except HRBN. We'll see how this acts because Lion Master is trying to pump it up. So I suggest you watch it. And I just want to make that clarification because OTC bulletin boards are very difficult to find shares to short and execute. As evidenced by my, when Jammin was at $1, or JAMN was at $1.06 a share, and the email came out, the repump from hackthestockmarket.com. I put my limit order at 112, 6 cents above, and mind you, the spread on these stocks is usually 1 cent. So I put it 6 cents higher, and I underestimated it because it went straight to 120 and I missed my execution. With NASDAQ, you don't have that problem. With NASDAQ, you get much better executions. So I'm a big fan of NASDAQ. Whoa, what happened to the light? That was crazy. I guess the promoters control the weather too. Tim Sykes will not present today. Let's go to tequila. All right, so just how bad are these companies? I wanted to show you, I can say, look, this company's shit. They have no products. They're not, as the promotional mailers say, the combination of Google, Apple, and Research in Motion. But let me just show you the hardcore digging. And a few other people were asking me questions like, where do you find SEC filings? I go to otcmarkets.com and I type in the ticker. It's free. So you can see the SEC filings. It's the easiest. There are other websites out there, but otcmarkets.com is nice because they have the files in different formats. So you can get like the PDF or HTML or what's another one, RTH, I don't know, file extensions. But you can save these SEC filings, and if you want a good laugh, like obviously I don't have the good one-liners. I just have these SEC filings and promotional mailers. So be prepared, loosen up. I don't want you falling out of your chair right now when you read these SEC filings, because these companies are pretty hilarious. This is Avatar Ventures, this is AVVC, the failed pump that we're talking about. And, financial statements usually aren't very interesting, but this is the cash flow from operating activities for 6 months ended January 31st, 2011. The net loss for the period was $3,800. And that compares the last year to -$6,000. And since inception in 2006, they've lost 55,000. Normally, financial statements, especially NASDAQ companies, are presented with 3 zeros at the end. So if you see a number like this, like negative $3,800, there should be 3 zeros, meaning that it's negative $3.8 million. And they just leave the 3 zeros off because, with big companies, you would have a lot of zeros all over the place, and it gets annoying. This company has no zeros missing. It's literally lost $3,800. So it's like, a good night out with Anatoly Radchenko, okay? That's what this is for 6 months. And Anatoly, that's just one night with Anatoly, okay? If Anatoly's balance sheet was here, if it was Anatoly Radchenko Corp, and it didn't say a developmental stage company, it would say like a Russian who likes to drink. If this was the balance sheet of Anatoly Radchenko, this is basically what it is. Anatoly's drinking bill since 2006 is like $55,000. And that's what you can compare this to. This is not the financials of an actual company. This is like one guy's drinking bill. And that's how bad this company is. So, would you invest in Anatoly's drinking bill company? That's what's similar. Like, we could probably create a pump right now. Like, this guy, he's a young guy, he's always gonna drink, right? Always. It's like the combination of 3 liquor companies combined. It's like Absolute, Jägermeister, and Beluga combined. And he's like the upcoming, liquor consumer, pump and dump. And we'll do the ticker symbol DRUNK, drunk. I think we can create it. To those of you who are wannabe promoters in the room, this would be the balance sheet of our company. And this is sad. So just so you understand, ABVC was a failed pump. It never went anywhere. It was only at $1-ish, right? But even at $1 a share, it's still nearly a $50 million company. And for 6 months, they lost $3,800. And guess how much cash they have at the end of the period? $16. Okay? They started with $216, they ended with $16. And this is after 6 months, okay? So 6 months is 180 days, just so you understand roughly. So they lost $200, so they're losing like $1 a day. That's what this company does, okay? This is not Anatoly's monthly bill. This is like, him walking down the street, like going into one bar. He starts out with $216 in his pocket. He ends up 2 hours later with $16 in his pocket. That is the Anatoly pump and dump. This company took 6 months to lose $200. That's pathetic, okay? And you can see here, look, they had a shareholder loan for $1,000. And, they say developmental stage company, so they are saying, look, like, we're a tiny piece of shit company. That's what developmental stage company means in legal jargon. Tiny piece of shit company. They just can't post that, their lawyers won't let them. But you can see here, share capital subscribed. So they've raised $29,000 since in 5 years. Putting on this seminar costs a lot more than this. And this company is a $50 million company. Does that mean somehow through my weird analogies that I should be worth $50 million? I think so. I think I should create a pump and dump. I probably wouldn't do it based on your drinking habits. But I was actually thinking about doing this just so that I could teach the world what a pump and dump is. I was thinking about, mocking all the promoters. I would probably go to jail, but I would probably write a bestseller from jail. And I would use the ticker symbol PUMP, P-U-M-P, and I would, say this is my technology combines all of the Fortune 500 companies. We're not just one industry, we're all industries. And it's all in my head, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to send out so many millions of emails. So I think, I think I'm worth, I don't know, like $3 million right now, let's say. $2 or $3 million. I haven't looked lately. But after, US has terrible taxes. I pay 44% taxes. So I'm worth a few $1 million. I think that when I'm worth like 10 million, I think that I might spend $5 million on a pump, on a promotional campaign with like this mocking bullshit. And then when I get, and I'll still run my newsletter, and I'll alert it. I'll say, I know this is a pump and dump because I'm creating it. And then I'll change the ticker halfway through from pump to dump, and I'll short my own stock, just so you can understand exactly how a pump and dump works. And this is blatantly illegal. And many of you aren't even understanding what I'm saying, but that's what it takes to teach. I'll do it. Because every single person, not just in this room, not just in this country, but in the world, should understand what a pump and dump is. Because the sad thing is, maybe it's not popular here in Russia, but in America, if you use the term penny stock, almost everybody has a relative or a friend or somebody who has been burned by one of these companies. And they don't understand why, because the emails are so positive. How can a company with the combined value of Apple, Research in Motion, and Google lose money? How can they lose $1 a day when they have all that potential? It just doesn't make sense. The emails say that this company should be going higher. The emails never highlight these financial statements. It's your duty to look at these financial statements and read them and see why the promotional mailer is such a joke. I was laughing over here because I've seen these financials. And this is not unique for ABVC. Every single one of these companies, LEXG, JAMN, KNKT, HHWW, it's not even worth talking about the company's names because they're just tickers. They're just a means to an end for a promoter who wants to manipulate a stock. And it's an opportunity for you guys to profit from it. Here's the next joke. This is ABVC also. This is their balance sheet. And remember, they have total assets of $16, down from $216. How much do you have in your wallet? Let's check. Let's see. Bring on the power of United Traders. Thank you. So, this is a lot of rubles. This is a lot of taxi rides over here. Wow, this actually is impressive. Or, I don't know, maybe it's not. I'm not Anatoly Radchenko. But, this $1,000, how much, or 1,000 rubles, how much is this?
$30.
30?
$50.
So this is double company assets. This is 2 ABVCs combined. And ABVC, remember, has a $50 million valuation. So I'm holding $100 million in my hand, but somehow it converts to $30. That doesn't make much sense. And also, thank you. Also, not just because they only have $16 in assets, they also have liabilities of $9,000. And they have a loan from a related party of $15,000. So they have $24,000 in liabilities and only $16 in cash. You don't have to be a math major, an accounting major, or a lawyer to understand that this company sucks, okay? $16 doesn't even buy you a drink of beluga, does it? How much does one shot of beluga cost? I didn't pay last night, so I don't know.
$10 maybe.
$10? Okay. I mean, it's so terrible. And the filing of this legal document, to file legal documents costs a lot of money. You need a lawyer to do it. To file each SEC filing costs a few $1,000s. And so that's what these companies do. They're basically shell companies. Have you heard the term shell company? Raise your hand if you know what a shell company is. So it's just a public shell. There's nothing on the inside. Picture like, a shell that you find on a beach. It's like a dead sea animal. It used to have a little slug thing in it, but now it's just a shell. And that's what these companies are. It doesn't matter if it has $16 in cash, $50 in cash, heck, even $5,000 in cash. They're not worried about this because they know most people will not read these filings. Most people are just going to read the emails that they're subscribed to. They read what they're told to read. They're not going to go to otcmarkets.com and read this. If they did, there's no way they would invest. So we have to be thankful for all the dumb people in the world. And my humor is kind of mean, it's kind of cynical. But when you see how many dumb people, especially because they email me afterwards, after ABVC tanks or KNKT or JAMN, and they say, how did you know it was gonna drop? It makes me wanna like short sell the human race because there are so many people that simply don't read these filings. This is, I mean, I don't know what your education system is like here, but I have a feeling like even if like you're in preschool, do you have preschool? Or first grade, second grade? Is that how it works? Like, first graders can see this, you know? And first graders like pick their nose and then eat it. And they can still see that this is like a fraud. Here's more. And by the way, this is Lithium Exploration Group. This is LEXG, formerly Mariposa Resources. Most of these shell companies have former companies because they exist on paper, you know? They don't have any cash, they don't have any products. They exist specifically because the stock is meant to be manipulated. The owners, the people have created these shells that simply exist on paper. And Mariposa Resources Ltd was the old company because my guess is they were gonna have a pump and dump based on oil. Oil is very popular to be pumped and dumped because you can just acquire an oil plot anywhere in the world, ideally a third world country, and say there's oil underneath. Our tests say there's $1 billion worth of oil. And if you actually look at the test, you would see that usually it's a company insider who's doing the test, or the test is 5 years old. I've seen a pump and dump where they said there was $1 billion worth of oil, and if you look at the test date, which nobody clicks on because they don't link the actual test. They just expect you to believe it. But if you actually clicked on the test and you see what this test is, it was from 5 years ago. Things change a little in 5 years. And by the way, most of these companies acquire these oil plots for like, you know, $2,000 or $5,000. So there's a whole industry of people who create shell companies. So like you guys, if you're lawyers or if you know lawyers, you can create your own shell company for a few $1,000s. Get the stock listed on the OTC bulletin boards or pink sheets in America. It probably costs you maybe $100,000, maybe $200,000, I don't know, to get listed. And then what you try and do is sell that listing to a company that wants to do a pump and dump. And if a company wants to do a pump and dump, theoretically they have the financing lined up for an email campaign. So somebody has already pitched in $1 million, $2 million, $3 million for an email campaign. So who cares if you pay $300,000, $500,000, maybe $600,000 for a public shell listing? Because you need that shell. You need, you know, the stock is the vehicle. That's what the stocks are. All they are is a means to an end. So you pay a few $100,000 for the shell, whether it's called Mariposa Resources or Lithium Exploration Group. You have no intention of actually building the company out. The financing, you know, and LEXG had a $3.3 million email promotional budget. Meanwhile, you see their assets, current assets, they had $42,000. But they also had $35,000 in prepaid expenses, total assets of $78,000. This company has 47 million shares outstanding. So, and remember the CEO, if you remember from yesterday, the CEO awarded himself a few months ago when he took over, he awarded himself 25 million shares. So at $10 a share at its peak, he was worth $250 million. And the company was worth $500 million. And they have assets of $78,000. Maybe, I wish they didn't have assets of $78,000. I wish they had assets of $70 and I could bring out Anatoly's money again. Do you have $78,000 on you? Your partners?
Not in cash, man.
Not in cash?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe you. Yeah, right. I see your briefcase over there, buddy. I know how United Traders operates. I see your commissions. But $78,000 in assets for a $500 million company doesn't make much sense. And you can see the liabilities, $99,000. You have these due to a related parties, note 6. So you have these, you know, kind of incestuous relationships. Does incestuous translate? You know what incest is, Anatoly? Where, you know, you have these related parties who own big blocks of stock. And so they'll loan a little money. Like, you know, if you need $40,000 to do a legal filing that keeps your show listed, you put up the $40,000. You gotta stay listed at all costs. If I was a promoter, and I think I would be a pretty damn good promoter, if I really wanted to rip off little old ladies, I could do it. I would probably be the best damn promoter in the world. What I would do is have at least 2 or 3 dozen different stocks listed at any one time. Some of them are going to work, some of them aren't. You know, you're trying to latch onto a story. You pay a copywriter $30,000, as I talked about yesterday. You get the legal filings for a few $100,000. You line up financing, or you put in your own money for the email campaign. All of this is specifically structured to get the stock higher. And as we've seen with the chart patterns, there are indications when these stocks are being manipulated with the email campaigns. Meanwhile, this is what the actual business is doing. And this is very difficult. On the message boards, if you do a search right now, and you know, I said that I got a cease and desist from Justin Bieber. And you know, I have a feeling the company is going to announce the whole cease and desist next week. The ticker is OPMG. And they're going to talk about how like they're suing notorious short seller Tim Sykes. And they're going to say, you know, the product that they're promoting, OPMG with Justin Bieber, is, as I talked about yesterday, this software that shuts down your cell phone as you're driving, so you can't text message, which is inherently a good product. And they're going to say Tim Sykes is evil. Somebody already posted on the message boards that because, and I wasn't shorting this stock, I was just exposing financials like this. Someone said that Tim Sykes wants teenagers to die. That because I'm exposing these kinds of financials, that means that I want more teenagers to die. Because I don't want this text messaging software out. I don't want teenagers to die. I want teenagers to become subscribers in my newsletter. If they're dead, they can't subscribe. Come on. This is Economics 101. They can't join United Traders. Do you want teenagers to die, Anatoly?
Not really.
No, not really. Sometimes. Sometimes they just piss me off. They take all my vodka. Anyways, did I hit too close to home or something?
So,
Don't worry, man. There's enough vodka in the country for you.
thanks a lot.
Although that bar last night didn't have beluga, that was a mistake. Somebody should talk to Pasha about that. Beluga is good, as I've learned. Here's more of LEXG. Here's what's interesting. So they have a little in assets. They have 78,000. You probably can't see all this because it's really tiny. But this is the revenue number. And I tried to blow this up, but remember, I did this morning as I was hungover with my dad puking in the bathroom. So cut me a little slack. This is the revenue for 2011, 3 months. There's a big dash mark. 2010, another dash mark. Another dash mark, another dash mark. Since 2006, since Anatoly started drinking, a big dash mark in terms of revenue. Did you start drinking around 2006?
Maybe from 2002.
You want to admit underage drinking in front of everybody here? No. Okay. It's fine. We all drink our vodka with fish and potatoes. Been drinking that stuff since yesterday. Here are their expenses, $244,000, and yet no revenue. Break down the expenses. Advertising, $5,000. What does this even say? Does this say coaching? I can't even read it. Maybe it just says ka-ching. I don't know. 9,000. General and administrative, which is salaries, 22,000. Management fees. Mining expenses, see note 5, so 135,000. So this company, for those of you who don't know, like they're saying that they have all this lithium. Lithium is a precious natural resource. So they are spending money mining. They're spending $135,000 for 3 months. So every 3 months they're spending roughly $135,000. That's actually better than most companies. Most companies wouldn't even go to the trouble of pretending that they're mining for anything. But this company did their pump right. Remember, this is the balance sheet of the single most successful pump and dump of the past few years. So let's learn from this. Let's memorize their SEC filings so that we can see what it takes to be the right pump and dump. And understand, for the stock price to go up, the people who are creating this pump, they know no one's going to read this. But it does have to be in order to stay listed. You know, some people are asking, like, why do you even need these filings? Well, you need the filings to be in order to stay listed, because the hypocrisy that is the OTC Bulletin Board Stock Exchange is that you need your legal filings in order, even though they're a complete joke. And you know that the reason for the stock moving is because of these dumb Midwesterners buying based on emails. But never screw around with your financials, because if the stock gets delisted, the jig is up. And a lot of NASDAQ companies drop down to the OTC bulletin boards because, you know, it's kind of like, do you have, I guess you have football here, right? Are there different leagues? Like you have like the major leagues and then like amateurs and then like Anatolia's league, different leagues. So that's what like OTC bulletin boards, and the NASDAQ is a higher league. If you look at a NASDAQ stock, you won't have revenues like this. You won't have balance sheets like this. NASDAQ is legitimate. So that's why the stock prices are higher. I prefer trading NASDAQ, but I love analyzing this stuff. This is my chart. This is how I've done over the past few years. It's actually more than this. I don't know why this is. I think I put my slides in the wrong place. Remember, I was drunk when I was creating this. But this is how my basic account has performed. I went back to $12,000. You know, you probably heard through my marketing, I turned $12,000 into $2 million in 4 years when I was in high school and college. That was my big claim to fame. But I also lost $500,000 when I believed in penny stocks, but I wasn't sophisticated enough. You know, what you're seeing now is a presentation that I've refined based on a strategy that I've refined for over a decade. Back in 2003, when I started my hedge fund at age 22, I was a cocky, dumb motherfucker. It's very dangerous to make $1 million before your 22nd birthday. So for those of you who have passed 22, congrats. You've already done better than I have in terms of maturity. Because I would never have come to a conference like this, because I thought I knew everything. If there was a conference of some like trader coming to my city, I'd be like, fuck that, I'll teach him. And I was this dumb, cocky kid, and I deserved losses, and I got it. I invested in a family friend's company. My hedge fund did okay. You know, I was making like 20% per year on roughly $3 million, but I couldn't get big time. You know, it's very difficult for me to come to the realization to understand scalability. You know, like I know so much about these legal filings, I know so much about these patterns. When you put all this together, you come up in your mind with a conclusion that you should be very, very wealthy. And you should be able to trade $1 billion. This strategy is not made for $1 billion. There's not enough shares to short, there's not enough volume to buy. The stocks move too quickly to ever really build big positions. What it is good for is small accounts. And this is why I love teaching, because it's so much better than most of the strategies out there for small accounts. Like if you're trading commodities and Forex, you're competing against the world's smartest people. If you're trading the index, you're competing with tons of fund managers, prop traders who are better and smarter and wealthier and better informed than you. But with penny stocks, you're competing against the dumb Midwestern housewives who only read emails and they don't look at the balance sheets. Who do you want to compete against? Like, if you're playing basketball, do you guys play basketball? Sometimes? If you're playing, who plays basketball? Raise your hand if you play basketball.
It's not so popular.
It's not popular. Okay, well, you know what basketball is. You have to shoot the ball into the hoop. And obviously, anytime you shoot it, the defender can block it. So who would you rather play basketball against? A midget or Shaquille O'Neal? I would rather, you know, play against a midget. I love midgets. Midgets are hilarious. If you play like a little midget like dribbling the ball and he tries to shoot it and you just smack it, you're just like, you stupid midget, you're not gonna shoot over me. I'm 6'1". Like, you really, this little midget thinks that he's gonna shoot over me? This little dwarf? No. a little character in Lord of the Rings. Do you have Lord of the Rings here? You know the dwarf? The guy with the beard? Can you imagine playing basketball against that guy? First he has armor and an axe, so he wouldn't like move very fast, and then you just swat it. You say, stupid midget. If you play basketball against Shaquille O'Neal, the biggest, blackest guy in the NBA, he's gonna be like, in your face. Don't ever play a black man in basketball. Come on. So that's what penny stocks are. You're competing against the dumbest, poorest, most gullible people in the world. I'm sorry to be so optimistic and nice, but that's the truth. This is how my account grows, and this is why I went back in November 2007 when I first started teaching, after my hedge fund failed. My hedge fund made 20% each year, which, on $3 million, was really only like $600,000 per year. And if you start a hedge fund, you only get 20% of the profits. So my hedge fund was earning like $500,000 per year for 3 years, and I was earning like $100,000 a year. Like, I was like Anatoly's butler. That's how much your butler makes, right? $100,000 a year? I'm just kidding, don't worry. I'm just saying, $100,000 a year isn't that much money to make when you have this strategy that works so often. So I got greedy, and I tried investing. And I invested in a family's friend's father's company. And it's supposed to be like the next big thing. They came up with this print-at-home ticketing solution, which is actually a very good product. And I got confused because I thought that the product would mean that the company and the stock would be worth a lot of money. I didn't read into their balance sheets like I know to do now. And I lost roughly $500,000, and my hedge fund lost, roughly 30%. Not a deal killer, but definitely a confidence killer and a momentum killer. Nobody wanted to invest, and I didn't want to do much of anything. I was pretty depressed, because I was that cocky kid who had never lost any money before. And I'll tell you one thing that one guy told me when I was trying to raise money for my hedge fund. He said, I love your strategy, I love your devotion, your dedication, your logic. I love everything about you. And this was when I was 23, and I was like, yeah, I know. And then he told me, but I'm not going to invest in your hedge fund because you haven't been scarred. And at the time, his name was Michael Harris of Pi Capital. At the time, I said, not to his face, but after the meeting was over, I was like, that guy is so fucking dumb. He loves everything about me, but he wouldn't invest in me? That's messed up. And he turned out to be 100% right. Because I wasn't scarred, because I had never lost a lot of money, I didn't know the risks of what I was doing. I've always had this profitable trading strategy, which I've refined. I've minimized my risks over the years. I've gotten better. I've simplified, focused on better charts. Lack of discipline is lessening. But there's simply not a lot of money to be made. So that's why in November of 2007, when I first started teaching, I went back to $12,000, $12,415 to be exact. That was what I started with, my bar mitzvah gift money. My parents gave it to me initially in 1999. I used to be a tennis player, and I injured my arm. I have like this obsessive personality, and I played too much, and I was like lifting weights, and my weak, frail Jewish body couldn't take it. So my arm got fucked up. I had surgery. I couldn't play tennis anymore. And my parents gave me control of my bar mitzvah gift money. And I turned that into roughly $2 million. So my dad, who is sleeping in the bathtub right now, calls it $1 million injury. So it worked out well for me because I made a lot more money trading than I ever would have at tennis. I was good at tennis, but I was sneaky. Do you guys play tennis? Is tennis popular here? All right. I was sneaky. I love like drop shotting and then trying to hit people and trying to injure them. I was a dick. I was just a dick. Does dick translate? Right. I guess it does translate. I was just that kind of a player. Like I wasn't that powerful of a tennis player. I was just like that guy. Like I would hit drop shots and I would try and use sneaky little angles. And I can just imagine these other people just playing me and just saying, "What a dick." There's just no other word to describe it. I just played like a dick. And I kind of have the same trading strategy where, you know, I found like this kind of inefficiency. I should have titled this the dick strategy. Welcome to the dick strategy. At least I make myself laugh. And this is how my account has performed since I started teaching. I didn't lose everything. If you look on the internet, there's a lot of lies about me because I'm exposing promoters. So promoters like to spread lies about me, which is kind of interesting. So I show every single one of my trades on timothysykes.com/Tim, and now on Profitly, a website I designed to share my trades. Because I believe in full transparency. There's a lot of people who teach trading and they'll never be this detailed because they don't actually trade. If you ever go to some of these seminars from some of these people, I encourage you to ask them how much they make trading. Let me see your trading record. If they come up with an excuse or say no, smack them. Smack them in their fraudulent faces and say, that's from Tim motherfucking Sykes. Please do that. We need to make this industry better. And I'm not, you know, this strategy is so weird. Like, who wants to trade penny stocks, manipulated penny stocks? Like, people, you know, the reason why penny stock newsletters are so popular is because, look, you invest in like this dollar stock, it might go to $10, it might go to $100. It's the lotto mentality. I'm the guy who's saying, okay, this is a fraud. Here's how, if you focus for 2 weeks, there's a 1 hour time frame where you can predict that it's going to move 50% or 30% or 20%. But you have to study for weeks, you have to watch the price action, you have to research, you have to look at the SEC filings. You're not always going to be right. Which, you know, if you're some person who already has a job or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a family, which strategy are you going to do? I missed my college graduation because of a trade. Okay? My mom, my dad, and my grandmother flew down to New Orleans, Louisiana, where I went to Tulane University. During graduation at the Superdome, it was a hot day, and they're all sitting there, and this was before, like, you know, text messaging, so I could have just, you know, texted them now and say, look, I'm not coming. But they had no idea I wasn't coming. I was back in my house making a trade. I made $12,000 that day, and I missed my college graduation. And they called my name twice, apparently. So you have to understand that when there's an opportunity cost. Missing your college graduation, I can't go back. I can't say, whoa, I guess I could probably organize that, you know, with Anatoly Radchenko, United Traders sponsoring the college graduation. We'll call everybody back and redo the college graduation so I can make it. But I missed my college graduation. That's just one example. If you talk to any of my friends, they fucking hate me, okay? I ditch them all the time for trades and research. My family, I don't go to many family events. I'm guessing they probably think I'm a dick too. And it's true, because this strategy consumes my life, and it's not necessarily a good thing. And it's not just about money for me, it's about, you know, getting to be the best trader and teacher that I can be. And I'm, by far and away, you can see that I'm not the best trader. But I hope to be the best teacher. And so this account that I turned 12,000 into 140,000, and I have to update this chart. This account now is, you know, at the beginning of 2011, it was 140,000. Now it's roughly 190,000. So in 3.5 years, I've turned 12,000 into roughly 200,000. Using this exact strategy that I've taught. Just by messing up nearly every single one of my trades, but having a logical framework and being meticulous in my research. It's pretty tough for me to be wrong on a stock like LEXG when I put in the time to do the research. And I see exactly when the emails are going out, and I look at the balance sheet. All it comes down to is a question of my timing, you know, if I'm awake, it's just, you know, how much time do I want to spend? I can sit in my chair 24/7 and just grow huge in order taking every single day and never miss a trade. But I like to, you know, visit places. Apparently I've been to 1/3 of the world already, so I don't have that many more places to go to. But the strategy is ideal for small accounts like this. And in the same period, the S&P 500, 12,000 would have turned into 10,000. Maybe it's like 10,500 now. But investing is for suckers. That's the whole, the highbrow concept of this speech. Invest like us. The right way to invest. Be bullish. Go fuck yourself. I'm sorry. That pisses me off. These mutual fund companies are multi-billion-dollar companies. Multi-trillion-dollar companies, actually. The mutual fund business, do you have mutual funds in Russia?
Yeah, of course.
The mutual fund industry worldwide is trillions of dollars. Hedge funds are growing to trillions, but even hedge funds, it's kind of sketchy. Like, I'm sure you know some people who say like, oh, I'm a hedge fund manager. I'm a hedge fund manager. And you don't know how much money they make because it's not like listed in the newspaper every day. Well, this is how much fucking money I make. And it's not huge, but you have to remember, I trade in order to teach. So if I was trading my entire net worth, I would take positions 5, 10, 20 times the size. But I do all right, I made roughly $1 million last year teaching. So I've found what I've been destined to do. Here are my trades. I suggest you all keep a track record of your trades. This is my website, profit.ly. No matter what strategy you trade, if you keep track of your trades, if you keep a diary, it will help your trading so much because you can go back, and I encourage you to take notes on each trade. But you can see these trades. This is how I made my money. This is just this month. I've made, roughly $20,000. You can see I'm not right every single time. But I made, $800, $13. Hey, I have the same assets as LEXG. $2,000, $3,000, $1,000 a pop. And this is my mind messing up nearly every trade. This is near worst case scenario if you become, pretty experienced and pretty cowardly and you trade like a castrated Anatoly. Sorry. This is my profit graph over the past 2 months. You can see here, hey, is this 2 months? Maybe 3 months, yeah. February to May, I made roughly $90,000 in trading. Some of you guys, do that in a day or a week or something like that. But I highly doubt that you'd be as consistent as me because I have these pump and dumps. It's very difficult to lose money trading pump and dumps if you know that they're pump and dumps. That's what it comes down to. So while I make money consistently, I know that I'm doing better and I'm teaching better because most strategies lose money consistently. Or some strategies out there, there's so many strategies. And Profitly, we have 5,000 members, so everyone has a different strategy. You can compare different strategies. But there's other websites like, Collective 2, Collective 3? I always forget the name of it. Marketocracy. Everyone has different strategies. And whether you trade pump and dumps, whether I've convinced you to, trade penny stocks and short sell and research and use this stuff or not, no matter what strategy you use, I hope that I've taught you to refine it. Over the years, I've gone from, well, I'm still a dick, but I've gone from, a cocky dick to a humble dick. And I'm much more meticulous. Back then, I treated it like a video game. And I would highly suggest you don't treat this like a video game. I know trading can be very emotional for a lot of people. There are great ups and downs, but when all is said and done, it's just numbers on a screen, and you don't really get a feel for it. And that's a mistake. Who here has heard of Jesse Livermore? Raise your hands. Nice. My kind of people. My fucking subscribers don't even know who he is. It pisses me off. I want to charge them double. I bought this book, Jesse Livermore, for those of you who don't know, he's one of the greatest traders, if not the greatest trader of all time. He turned, nothing into millions several times throughout his lifetime. He shorted the 1929 stock market crash. He made $100 million. The idiot public blamed him for the crash. He's racing yachts with Walter Chrysler. He married a showgirl. She was a drunk. She shot their son in a drunken argument. The son was all right, but he was drunk. You know, you have these kinds of interesting characters. Eventually, I'm going to make a movie based on his life, and I suggest you all read the book Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. But I bought his book, How to Trade in Stocks. It's a, you know, he similarly failed back in the 1930s. After he made so much money, he used too much leverage, and he went bust. And then he said, you know what, let me try and teach. And no one, you know, even though he knew so much about the markets and he had so much wisdom, because he went bust, his book failed. His book called How to Trade in Stocks, published in 1940, failed. Because everyone's like, why do I want to learn from some guy who's busted? And if the losses that I've kind of been forced to deal with have taught me anything, it's that there is a lot more wisdom to be learned from your losses than just your gains. This chart looks nice. It helps me sell books and DVDs, and people want to make money. That's cool. But I've learned a lot more from my losses over the years and from my failures on my trading. So Jesse Livermore's book, How to Trade in Stocks, is a fantastic read. I suggest you all read it. I got a first edition copy autographed by him. I paid roughly $18,000 for it. I was going to give it away to my subscribers, but the fact that they don't even know who he is, that just means that I probably can't give it to them, because that would just be a tragedy. They would probably be like, oh yeah, I'll take that book, and then they'll like sell it right back to somebody and pocket the $18,000. It's a fucking stock market treasure, and they don't even know who he is. Very sad, but that's most of the people. So what I want you to do is not necessarily trade pump and dumps. Not necessarily, you know, miss your college graduation. I think some of you are still in college. But understand that there's always opportunities in trading. Not just in the penny stock market, but in the entire stock market. With those opportunities comes responsibility. It's your responsibility to take advantage of the good setups. As a trader, as an investor, if you see a good setup and you don't take advantage of it, that's fucked. Because there are only so many good opportunities. And I know many of you guys want to make money every single day. You want to scalp yourselves till death do you part. But I hope that I've shown you that there are some amazing patterns and amazing predictability. And that's the kind of opportunities that you should focus on. Visit my website daily, give me more hits, click my banner ads. Just kidding. Follow me on Twitter. This is more important because I do share my trades and I do have the lists. And yes, I do advertise my stuff a little bit, but as I hope you've seen, you know, what I sell and what I teach is real. And this strategy is replicable. And my success is replicable. If not, you know, you could probably do better. Spicy ball. I guess we have a little time. Does anybody have any questions? Because I know some of you are gonna ask me questions afterwards, and then other people won't get to hear my answers, and that's not cool. Any questions? Are you all pump and dumped out? Or hungover like me? Good, let's get out of here. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you, United Traders, Anatoly Radchenko, Beluga, Vodka, and Low Risk Scott RU. Bye.
My name is Tim Sykes, and I teach people to trade stocks. I am a self-made multimillionaire.
So this is the ideal trade that I'm going to talk about. I want you guys to understand every single aspect of this trade.